So let's talk about those challenges. What can we expect in 2025?
Well, we have a huge agenda, as we ever do, across both the public and the private sector. We're expecting a very challenging year in terms of industrial relations. It's important from Unite's perspective that certainly government and employers engage positively and constructively with the union to ensure that we can get to agreements. We can disagree on issues, but it's really important that we have that negotiation to avoid getting to the precipice of industrial action. So really it's about having that constructive dialogue so we can avoid those issues, but we have a very broad and challenging agenda ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. And on the subject of that industrial action, we have seen some possible action shelved. We saw the GHA take some action briefly, industrial cleaners, the fire service. There have been a few disputes that we've heard about over 2024. How is engagement with the government on those issues?
Yeah, not shelved. I would say they are paused at the moment or held in abeyance. So if we look at those in the GHA, we feel that we've made sufficient progress to pause those. Our members have made that decision in terms of the progress that's been made through negotiations. In terms of some of the other areas like the fire service, again, those are being held in abeyance pending further negotiations with government. I guess our disappointment is that we have to get to that position where we are declaring a trade dispute, we are balloting members on industrial action, and indeed having to threaten or take industrial action to get around the bargaining table. So once we're at the table, those discussions tend to be constructive, but the message is we need to start those discussions earlier to avoid those particular issues.
Is it possible that industrial action is almost inevitable because the unions are asking for too much at a time when we know things are very difficult?
Not at all. The key here is that government needs to get around the table. The problem is that there's a number of issues where the employers or government are not engaging with us until such time that we actually get into the industrial action process. And then they sit down with us. And what we're saying is that we shouldn't be in a situation where we have to take our members to the brink to get that dialogue and get that negotiation. So really it's around ensuring that there's that constructive industrial relations. We will fall out, we will disagree, but it's key to actually avoiding those issues. Our members don't want to take industrial action. It's very much a last resort, but unfortunately we've been driven to that in terms of some of the inaction by government and employers around those key issues.
So the engagement from government on those issues now, are you happy with any progress there?
Yes, it's positive, and that's why we've been able to pause the action, because we've made the progress that we've been seeking to make, and it's around just ensuring that we can actually engage with that process to ensure we avoid that. We don't have people sat outside the hospital or number 6 or ministry. So really we don't want to be in that position, but that's where we've been driven to by government.
Okay, well, it's not all doom and gloom. You did say that there are some good agreements that were reached in 2024. What are terms and conditions looking like when it comes to the private and the public sector?
So we've made a number of decent agreements. We've obviously got an awful lot that we still need to make progress on. We've made a number of decent agreements across the public sector. In terms of the private sector, we've been able to agree a number of inflation plus pay agreements, which have been really positive within the private sector. But again, we still have a huge way to go in relation to issues across both sectors around insecurity of employment, around 0 hours contracts. And those are key issues for us in 2025, and also the minimum wage and also the Gibraltar living wage as well.